In this video, I'm going to share with you a very simple way to make more money for your law firm. Now, this strategy can be used for good or for evil. So I am begging you, please do not use it for evil, only use it for good. Now, I want to tell you an example of this strategy being used for evil, and it's actually done by the cigarette companies. So in 2009, when Barack Obama became president, the price of cigarettes was about $3 a pack. So once he became president, he actually increased the taxes on cigarettes. And what that was going to do is that was going to make the price of cigarettes go up. And it was about 156% increase in the taxes on cigarettes. And that was going to make cigarettes end up costing about $4.50. Now, the tobacco companies are not dumb. They're very smart. And they know that typically the reason that people will stop smoking is because of money, financial reasons, right? And they typically won't stop for health reasons, but what they'll do is, if it gets too expensive, that's when people start considering quitting smoking. So they were like, all right, we have to figure out how do we combat this because we can't not have this tax. Like it's federally mandated. We have to add this tax to all of our cigarettes. So they came up with a brilliant idea. They used a concept called price anchoring. So from the time that the tax was actually going to be implemented was probably about 6 months from the time that it was announced till the time that it was actually going to be implemented. So about a month before the tax was implemented, what the cigarette companies did is they proactively raised the price of the retail price, or I guess the wholesale price of their cigarettes, so that it ended up being $5.50 per pack. So what happened was is that the price of cigarettes went all the way up to $5.50 about a month before the tax went in play. Then, once the tax came into play, they reduced the price of the wholesale price of cigarettes, which then lowered the price to $4.50. And now, because people were price anchored to think $5.50 was the cost of cigarettes, because most smokers smoke every day. So for 30 days, they were paying $5.50 every single day. Then one day, the price dropped $1. That's called price anchoring. And what that did was that made it so that most people didn't quit smoking that would have quit smoking due to financial reasons. Now, as I said, this is a very powerful psychological tool that can be used for good or for evil. Now, I personally think that the cigarette companies are evil, and that's why I'm saying that it's a smart strategy, but it also can be used for evil, right? So this is a very, very important lesson, though. And that is that if you don't anchor your prices to something more expensive, then your potential clients are going to anchor your prices to something cheaper. And whenever you anchor your prices to something more expensive, then your price will always seem cheap. However, if you don't anchor your prices to something more expensive, then they are going to anchor it to something cheap, and it's going to make them feel like your prices are expensive. So let me give you another example of an actual attorney that I worked with on this. So we used to work with an attorney, and he helped nurses defend their licenses. He does professional license defense. So he charged $4,000 to represent a nurse who was having her license challenged by the medical board or by the nursing board. And most of the time, he would do his entire sales pitch. They'd come in and he'd say, yeah, it's going to be $4,000 for us to represent you. And they'd be like, okay, I got to think about it. Right. And his sales weren't very good. Like, he got some clients. It's not like he didn't get any clients, but he didn't get as many clients as he had hoped for, which didn't make sense because of the amount that they stood to lose. But the problem was he wasn't articulating the amount that they stood to lose. So I started asking him some questions. I said, well, how old is the average nurse that comes to you? And he said the average nurse is about 45 years old. And how much do they stand to lose if they lose their nursing license every year? So basically what he said is that if they lose their nursing license, they're going to obviously lose their job as a nurse. And because you have a special license to get a job as a nurse, you're going to get paid more than if you don't have this special license. And not only that, if you have a license revoked, you're probably not going to be able to get another license in the future. So he estimated that they lose probably about $20,000 per year if they lose their nursing license. So when we can look at this, then we can say, okay, so 45 years old, $20,000 per year. They're probably going to work until they're 65. That means that they are going to lose $400,000 over the course of the next 20 years by not having their nursing license. So when we present this information first, and this is what I instructed this attorney to do, I instructed him to do this exact breakdown. You're 45 years old. We found that on average, when somebody loses their nursing license, they lose about $20,000 per year. People retire at 65. I don't see any reason why you'd be any different. So that's 20 years times $20,000 a year is $400,000. Now, we can help you fight to keep your nursing license. We can help fight to keep this income for you every single year and also help you fight to keep your reputation. And for us to do that, it's only going to be $4,000 one-time payment to help you keep your nursing license so that you don't lose $400,000 over the next 20 years. And by doing that, his client or his sales and his closing percentage went through the roof. Why is that? It's because we anchored this $400,000 price directly to the $400,000. Now, if we didn't have this $400,000 price and the only thing they have is $4,000, well, what are they going to do? They're going to compare that to the cost of their car payment, which might be $350. They're going to compare that to their student loans, which might be $500 a month or $1,000 a month or whatever it is. They might compare it to their mortgage payment, which might be $2,000 per month. They might compare it to even like what they make in a week, which could be $2,500 or if that maybe that's their 2-week paycheck. All of these numbers are less than $4,000, and all of these numbers, when you think about $350 and then you think about $4,000, $4,000 seems like a lot of money. But when you think about $400,000 and then you think about $4,000, $4,000 automatically, all of a sudden, doesn't seem like it's a lot of money. So that's why it's very, very important that you control the context of the price, because there's 3 things about price. The first is that price is subjective. Price is subjective. The second is that price is elastic, meaning that price can stretch depending on the context. And then price is also subjective. Price is elastic, price is subjective, and price depends on context. Those are the 3 things. And by controlling what they are anchoring your price to, you're controlling the context, you're controlling the subjectivity, and you're allowing the price to be more elastic rather than contracting in how much you can charge for your services. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about real quick is something called a premium value offer. And this is something that it's actually a way that lawyers can make a lot of money and they just don't even use this. So let's say your standard fee for DUI or family law, like divorce or whatever it is or whatever, let's say it's $5,000, right? That's your standard fee. Now, there's a very easy way to make this $5,000 seem cheap. And the way that you do that is you create something called a premium value offer. Premium value offer. Now, what is that? Ask yourself this question. If I tripled my prices or if I 10x'd my prices, how would I justify that? And how would I actually make it so that clients would be stupid not to pay that money? How would I serve them at such a high level that triple the prices or 10x the prices would be justified, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to create a premium value offer. And that premium value offer, if this is $5,000, try to make it $18,000 or more. And ask yourself, if I actually charged $18,000, how would I justify this? How would I actually make it so that they're getting $180,000 worth of value for just $18,000? How can I make it so they'd actually be stupid not to take this $18,000 offer? Now, when you do this, a couple things are going to happen. First of all, you're going to come up with some really interesting ways to create your offer. And this is going to require some thinking, right? It's going to require some thinking. But once you do this, you're going to have a premium value offer. Now, here's the cool thing. Next time you get on an airplane, notice the first, 7 or 8 rows on the plane. They're all first class. They're all people that paid a premium value offer, that paid a premium price to the airline to sit at the front to take the airline's premium value offer, because there are always people that will pay you a premium for goods and services. So by not making a $18,000 premium value offer, you're not giving those people the opportunity to spend their money with you. And I promise you, if you do this, People will pay this. What's crazy is that people will actually pay this. You'll be absolutely surprised. And then you can serve them at a higher level because you're actually giving them an amazing offer. So you always pitch the $18,000 offer first because some people will take it, but most people won't take it. So then what you do is create a second level. And let's say that second level is $6,500. Second level is $6,500. And then you have a third level that's $5,000. Now, what happens is this right here, this $6,500, this is actually that $5,000 offer that we talked about before, but we just raised the prices because why not? We can, right? And this is actually going to feel cheap compared to $18,000 because you've already pitched them $18,000. Now, the $5,000 offer should actually not really be that good of a deal. The $5,000 offer is there to make them think that the $6,500 is the way to go. And what's cool about this is that you actually see this working in the movies all the time. If you go to the movies, they have 3 sizes for popcorn. They've got a small for $6. They've got a medium for $6.75, and then they've got a large for $7. The small and the medium are just there to get you to spend $7 on the large. Because if I'm going to spend $6 on a small, I might as well spend an extra $1 to get a large. If I'm going to spend $6.75, I might as well spend an extra $1 or an extra 25 cents to get a large popcorn, right? So these are all ways that you can anchor your prices against something more expensive. And when you do that, people are going to feel like your prices are actually cheaper. Now, again, as I said, you could do this for good or you could use it for evil. So I really, really hope that you use it for good and not for evil. But if you do this, I promise you it's the easiest way to make more money. And when you make more money, you can actually hire better employees so you can serve your clients better. You can actually dedicate more time to getting them the results that they deserve because you don't have to take on too many cases just to pay your overhead and just to pay your bills. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know. And I really will hope to talk to you soon.